Hey guys, it's Mario from WATL, and today I'm looking to give you pro level tips of how to throw an axe like a pro. If you haven't already, watched the videos on how to throw an axe and the intermediate level tips I gave in those videos. This video in particular is meant for the most advanced throwers in the world, meaning you're able to consistently stick an axe. You are looking to go from maybe a score of in the mid 40s or in the low 50s up to closer into the 60s. And this is the video that will help you improve to attain those goals. The first thing I want to talk about is breathing. Breathing is extremely important, especially as you start getting to those levels of consistently throwing bullseyes or kill shots. Breathing is the most important technique, and you have to make sure, and this is a tip I got from a previous world champion, Ryan Smith, where his goal was actually to keep his resting heart rate as low as he could. So you would never see him pace up and down to get his axe or do anything that would increase his heart rate. So the goal is he wanted to control his breathing, keep your heart rate down, because as your heart rate goes up, that's when you start getting into mistakes. When you're more relaxed, when you're breathing, think of it similar as to darts or what a sniper would go through. They take a deep breath before they throw, they relax their body, they're lined up, then they throw. Breathing is a crucial component that I think you will hear from almost every major thrower, top thrower globally. Now, this is something that you'll see from every major top thrower in the world, including someone like Lucas Johnson. He takes his time with his throws because he's focused on lining up, but also the breathing. So the way I would do it and the way I like to line up is I like to take a deep breath. I'm breathing in a consistent manner. When I come up to the line, I'm thinking about nothing but the next throw. And when I'm there, I'm well positioned, I'm completely stable, and I take that deep breath. And then once I'm relaxed, that's when I release the throw. Another tip, and this actually came from Sam Carter, again, a previous world champion. What he would do when he was practicing for the world championship is, even though the kill shots were like this, he was actually practicing on pennies. So he was practicing on dime-sized, penny-sized kill shots and bullseyes. His approach and his thought was, if I aim small, I will miss small. And it worked really well for him. And he blew the competition out of the water that year. And there was no one that was beating him because he practiced consistently on these tiny, tiny targets. That's another thing that I would highly suggest. Even though today's kill shots and bullseyes have the smaller rings, I would even try aiming for smaller than that. And that's the consistency of the level that you should be practicing at when you're looking to achieve a pro level or an advanced level status. The third thing I want to talk about is how you practice. When you're leveling up, and full credit goes to Tyler Flynn, who's one of the world's top axe throwers and knife throwers on this tip, is leveling up should look very different. Although practice is extremely important, it is very different when you practice for, let's say, 2 hours. You should probably never throw for 2 hours straight. What you should probably do is throw no more than 45 minutes, then you take a break, because what you don't want to do is you don't want to get into the mindless repetition and not practicing and throwing without a purpose. So the idea is, even if you throw for 30 minutes with full focus and full intent, it is exhausting when you do that. Give yourself a 10-15 minute break, then go back out, do another 30 or 45 minutes. That's what makes a massive difference when you level up, instead of trying to do an hour and a half to 2 hours straight. Now, number 4 is do not make adjustments on the fly. Make adjustments when you start seeing a pattern of behavior that needs to be changed. So even though one throw may have been slightly off, it doesn't mean you should adjust the throw on the next one. Keep the throw consistent. Make sure you're consistently making those throws. Write down your scores and see if there's a pattern that you're noticing. If you're always missing right, do not adjust anything until you start seeing that pattern consistently. Maybe it's a simple of adjustment of you taking half a step or a quarter of a step over to the left in order for you to hit the bullseye, but do not make adjustments on the fly. Keep your throw the same, keep the technique the same, keep your breathing the same. Slowly start making adjustments to one of the variables, not all. because what you want to do is, it's similar to what web designers and web developers called A/B testing. You want to see what works and what doesn't work, and then you want to optimize from there, and you're constantly changing the variables, but only changing one variable at a time after you've executed a certain number of throws where you're comfortable. For me, that number would probably be closer to 50 to 100 before I start looking to make any changes whatsoever, and I would probably do it over a course of several days. So I, generally speaking, do not change my throw unless I see something major going on in 2 consecutive practice sessions that I have on 2 separate days. Everyone is different, but the key takeaway is do not change your throw on the fly. The next important piece is the mental part of the game, and that is arguably the most important part of throwing. So when it comes to the mental part of the game for axe throwing, you have to make sure that you understand that every single throw is independent. So whatever happened on the previous throw, put it behind you. Do not let that affect your next throw. And that is extremely important because people dwell on what happened in the previous throw, and I've seen it in many occasions where it completely turns the tide of who's going to end up winning the match, because that person is still dwelling on the slight mistake or error that they made on the previous throw. Make sure that doesn't happen to you. Additionally, one of the tips that I got from Ryan Smith years ago was he would practice where every throw, mentally, he was telling his body, this is the final throw. This is match number 5. It's the final throw. If I hit it, I win it. If I miss, I lose the world championship. And that's how he would practice several times a day throughout the day for all of his throws. So when it actually came down to it, and it happened at the world championship, his body, his mind was already comfortable with that scenario because he had practiced it over and over and over again. So that is important to make sure that in practice, you are practicing high stress scenarios where there's high pressure and there's potentially a lot of money or glory on the line. Make sure you take that into your practice, because that's what will separate you from another person winning a tournament. Another point that Tyler Flynn brought up was stay in your rhythm. Make sure you are in a rhythm of throwing. So when you throw, you retrieve it. Maybe you have a set pattern. You like to twist your axe. You maybe count to 10, count to 50, whatever that number is in your mind. Keep that rhythm. But also, don't be afraid to break away from it if you need that mental break. If something's off during the match, don't think as though you have to rush the throw. Take a step back, take a step to the side, shake it off, do whatever you need to do to mentally reset so your mind is back into the match. Another important tip is to know what decisions you're going to make during game time scenarios. What that means is you should not be making any sort of decisions for the first time in that moment. So you should know well before a match, if we are tied at 9, what am I going to do? Am I going to go up and I'm going to ask him? So if he says no, or she says no, and they want to stay down, okay, I'm going to stay down too. Or maybe you've decided that you're going to go up and you're going to clinch the game. But regardless of what that strategy is, make sure you identify it before you have that match. A lot of throwers, depending on who they're going up against at the pro or the advanced level, they know what decisions they're going to make. And certain throwers who know each other very well, they will have maybe an internal gentleman's agreement that no matter what, they will go up on 9 and 10 regardless. That doesn't mean you have to do the same. If they want you to go up on 9 and 10 and you are up on 8, do not let the pressure get to you. If they missed a kill shot and they're saying, come on, let's go up, and you have clinched the game, you clinch the game. That is the difference between winning or losing. Do not allow pressure or peer pressure to get to you. The goal is to win, especially when it comes to tournaments and when it comes to leagues. You want to be the best. That is the mental type of decisions that you have to know to be able to make beforehand. Do not make decisions on the fly, and make sure you make them even before the match starts. There's certain scenarios that might come up where you might be on throw 7 and they decide to go up. It might throw you off, but stick to your game plan. Just because they go up on throw 7 doesn't mean that you should change your strategy of maybe going up on 9 and 10 if that was your original plan. stick with it. Doing all of these things will help you become a significantly better thrower, not only in tournaments, but also in leagues. The game is not just about accuracy and the physical component of being able to throw an axe consistently and accurately over a stretch of time, but it is a major mental part of the game that you have to be ready for when it comes to gameplay. So if you're looking to be an advanced level thrower or a pro level thrower, being among the top 1% of the 1% elites in the world, these are the types of tips that will help you achieve that success over time. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. If you're interested in more great content, if you're interested in pro level tips, make sure you like, subscribe, follow us, because we will be publishing more how-to content on how to throw axes, how to improve your game, and how to get better. Thanks again, everyone.